Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a seriously wild trip down memory lane. We're going to talk about 10 iconic Christmas toys from the 70s, 80s, and 90s that were on every kid's wish list. But here's the twist. Every single one of them is now considered illegal or has been banned. It's hard to believe, right? These were the toys we begged our parents for, the ones that made Christmas morning magical. But looking back, it's pretty clear that safety standards have, let's say, evolved. So, grab your popcorn, get comfy, and let's dive into the world of surprisingly dangerous toys from our childhood. First up, let's talk about creepy crawlers. If you were a kid in the 70s or had a revival set in the 90s, you remember this. You had these metal molds of bugs and spiders, and you'd pour in this liquid goo called Plastigoop. Then, you'd slide the whole tray into a super hot oven-like device to bake your creations. The result is these rubbery, jiggly insects. The problem? Well, the ThingMaker oven reached temperatures of over 300 degrees Fahrenheit, a perfect recipe for serious burns. Plus, the fumes from the melting Plastigoop were toxic. So, combining a blistering hot plate with noxious chemicals and marketing it to kids? Oh yeah, that wouldn't fly today. Next on our list are Snack Time Cabbage Patch Kids. These dolls were a huge hit in the mid-90s. The concept was adorable. You could feed them little plastic snacks like carrots and fries. And a motorized mechanism in their mouths would chew and pass the food into a backpack. What could possibly go wrong? Well, the dolls' mouths didn't just chew on plastic food. They also chewed on kids' fingers and hair. The mechanism was one way, with no off switch. Once it started munching, it didn't stop. After dozens of reports of injuries, and even some 911 calls to rescue kids from their own dolls, they were pulled from the shelves in 1997. Remember Sky Dancers? These were huge in the 90s. You'd place this beautiful winged fairy doll on a launcher, pull a cord, and she would spiral gracefully into the air. It was magical to watch. The problem was, you had no control over where she went or how she came down. These dolls were essentially unpredictable, hard plastic projectiles. The wings could fly off at high speeds, hitting people in the face, causing scratched corneas, broken teeth, and concussions.
Ow.
After more than 150 reported injuries, these graceful dancers were grounded for good and recalled. Let's head back to the 70s for our next one, the good old wood-burning kit. This was a classic rite of passage for many kids. It came with a pen-like tool that heated up to scorching temperatures, allowing you to burn designs into wood or leather. It felt so grown-up and creative. But let's be real, it was a soldering iron for children. The risk of severe burns was incredibly high, not to mention the fire hazard of a red-hot tool left unattended in a kid's bedroom. Today, these kits are generally marketed to adults and come with a mountain of safety warnings, a far cry from the carefree toy of the past. Let's talk about a true legend of playground danger, Jarts, also known as lawn darts. These were a popular outdoor game from the 70s and 80s. They were basically giant, heavy darts with a sharp metal tip designed to be tossed underhand into a target ring on the lawn. Think of it as a much more lethal version of horseshoes. Unsurprisingly, these things were incredibly dangerous. After thousands of injuries and several tragic child fatalities caused by darts striking people in the head, they were completely banned in the United States in 1988. You can't buy or sell them anymore, and for very good reason. Now for a toy that was all about chemistry, the Gilbert U-238 Atomic Energy Lab, this is not a joke. Released in 1950, but with a legacy that echoed for decades. This was the most elaborate atomic energy educational set ever produced. It came with actual, real-life radioactive materials, including 4 types of uranium, or also included a Geiger counter to measure radiation. The goal was to let kids create and observe nuclear and chemical reactions. While the amount of radioactive material was considered minimal at the time, the idea of giving children uranium to play with is, by today's standards, absolutely insane. The product was a commercial failure and quickly disappeared. Another classic from the 70s and 80s was the big wheel, that low riding. Plastic tricycle was the coolest ride on the block. The problem wasn't the big wheel itself, but how we used it. Its low profile made it nearly invisible to drivers backing out of driveways. While the toy itself isn't illegal, its design led to so many accidents and close calls that it prompted a massive shift in outdoor toy safety awareness. Modern versions have much higher visibility flags and different safety features. Yes. But the original design is a relic of a time when look both ways was the only safety feature you had. Who remembers Aqua Dots? This was a popular craft kit from 2007. Kids would arrange tiny colored beads on a template, spray them with water, and the beads would fuse together to create cute little figures. It was like magic. The problem was in the chemistry. A manufacturing error meant that the chemical coating on the beads, when ingested, metabolized into the day-trape drug GHB. Several children fell into comas after swallowing the beads. The toy was subject to a massive global recall, making it one of the most infamous toy disasters of the 2000s. Let's talk about the Easy Bake Oven. This iconic toy has been around since the 60s, but a specific model from the mid-2000s landed it in hot water. Much like the Creepy Crawler's oven, it used a real heating element. A new front-loading design was introduced, but it had a major flaw. The opening was just the right size for small hands to get trapped inside, right next to the heating element. After dozens of reports of children getting their hands and fingers caught and suffering second- and third-degree burns, the model was recalled. The Easy Bake Oven still exists, but the design has been drastically changed to prevent this from ever happening again. Finally, we have to talk about click clacks, also known as clackers. These were two heavy acrylic balls on a string, and the goal was to get them clacking together above and below your hand as fast as you could. They made an incredibly satisfying sound. The danger, you got them going really fast. These heavy plastic balls could shatter, sending sharp shards of plastic flying in every direction like shrapnel. They were essentially a toy flail. After causing a slew of eye injuries and other cuts, they were declared a mechanical hazard and banned by the FDA in the 80s. So there you have it, 10 beloved Christmas toys that were secretly accidents waiting to happen. It's amazing to look back and realize what we played with as kids. It really makes you appreciate today's safety standards. What were some of your favorite, maybe slightly dangerous toys from back in the day? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.